हमसे बहुत आगे न निकल पाए। अब हम प्रोग्राम को आगे बढ़ाते हैं। भारतीय नौवहन पंजीकार यानी इंडियन रजिस्टर ऑफ शिपिंग के श्री अनिल देवली अब आपके समक्ष आ रहे हैं। पेशे से आप वकील हैं। नौवहन जगत में अपने 20 वर्ष के समय में आपने बड़ी महत्वपूर्ण उपलब्धियां हासिल की हैं। IRS में आने से पहले आप चीफ एग्जीक्यूटिव ऑफिसर इंसा थे। श्री अनिल देवली वर्तमान में इंडियन रजिस्टर ऑफ शिपिंग में चीफ ऑपरेटिंग ऑफिसर कमर्शियल हैं। अपने की नोट एड्रेस के साथ श्री अनिल देवली।
Honorable Minister, thank you sir for this opportunity. On behalf of the entire marine fraternity, permit me to welcome you to this world of shipping, which we believe is your, as DG said, is your first public interaction. On this occasion of Seafarers Day, we are going to celebrate our excellence as a seafaring nation, and I think everybody has spoken a lot about this, so I will skip all the good words about Indian seafarers. Suffice to say that as ship owners, we are nothing without our seafarers. The destiny of the seafarers of India is closely linked with that of Indian flag shipping. And from the time the first vessel, SS Loyalty, sailed from the port of Mumbai for its maiden voyage to Liverpool, we have seen Indian shipping per se grow. We've thrown up some small heroes, Walchand Hirachand being one of them, Narottam Moraji being one of them, but one of the things that I would see when I would sit in the boardroom of the Indian National Shipowners Association, thereafter we seem to have started to lose the plot. Somewhere along the way, we found that the policymakers of India displayed some sense of lack of disinterest and overall lack of enthusiasm. Perhaps we as ship owners were unable to put up our case effectively and correctly. I would like to draw your attention, Honorable Sir, to this outlay of the Government of India, 8th Plan, Ministry of Shipping, for the Shipping Department, 0, 9th Plan, 0, 10th Plan, 0, 11th Plan, 1,131 lakhs, 12th Plan, 0. Effectively, what we are saying is that over these years, the amount of money that has been put in rail and road, etc., I think some attention was lost on the business of shipping. I'm not here to plead a case for budgetary support for shipping. Just to bring to your attention the fact that in these past 10 years or so, in the regime that has governed the national shipping business, the focus on Indian shipping has somewhere been lost. I draw your attention, sir, to this particular slide, and you will see the growth of Indian tonnage somewhere in the year 2005. And while this is not meant to be psychophilic, this is the time when tonnage tax was granted to us. And it was your colleague, Mr. Arun Jaitley, who then was the Minister of Shipping. It did not come during his regime, sir. But as Indian ship owners, we were the ones who sat down with him, worked all this out. It came in the next regime, but the entire groundwork was done at that time. When 2004, it was finally announced, you could see the rise in the percentage. 16.27% was the rise in our tonnage that we had in India. However, when we look at the other countries in this region, sir, and I hope you can see in that monitor, if you look at the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries, look at Japan, China, and Korea. We will leave aside Germany and Greece because these are economies which do not match what we do. And you look at us as India. We are talking about two columns. One is the national flag, second is the foreign flag, and third is the total controlled fleet. As Indian ship owners today, we are required to own all our ships under the national flag. There are other countries which are allowed to own ships under the foreign flag, and therefore they have a larger controlled fleet. The last column, sir, shows you what is the controlled fleet element that countries like Japan or China or even Korea, which is almost similar to us, have in terms of their national fleet flag share. The control tonnage permits us to not take investment out of India, but in fact permits us to bring investment in India. At a time when we have to make a detailed presentation to you, we will explain to you more about this control tonnage, but it is necessary for us to be able to go out and flag our ships out of India in order to be able to capture international business. This slide is also extremely important, sir, in respect of the share of the national cargo carried by various countries. You will see that about 65% of Japan's cargo is carried by Japan. Close to about 41% is carried by China. This is reported by Clarksons, not by WTO. Korean companies carry about 99% of their cargo, and Indian companies carry only 9.1% of our cargo. That is all we carry. This graph shows the yawning difference between where the Indian seaborne trade is going and where cargo carried by Indian shipping lines is stuck at. We are at a state where our cargo keeps on remaining steady and the Indian seaborne trade goes on increasing. The one other important issue, sir, would be in respect of the freight that we believe is getting lost out of India. By a rough back of the envelope calculations, India's total seaborne trade is about $780 billion. Freight is about 6 to 7%, and therefore would be about $50 billion US. About 95% of this goes off to non-Indian companies, and therefore about $45 billion of freight is paid out. If we only ensure that 10% of this cargo starts coming back to Indian bottoms, we are looking at 30,000 crores of rupees, 30 billion Indian rupees that can be bought back into the system. Minister Sir, I would very strongly but very humbly urge that this be looked at and this be brought to the attention of the powers that be. Coming back to this slide, all of these countries, whether it is China, Japan, etc., have grown in their tonnage, but also mark, sir, the Singapore, which is at serial number 12. All the other countries which have grown are countries which have their own cargo, unlike us. But Singapore has been a country which does not have its own cargo, but decided that shipping as an economic activity brings great amount of economic gain to the country, and therefore has moved from almost a nobody to number 12 in this series of world shipping. Many of our own Indian ship owners have their offices in Singapore and have flagged vessels through Singapore. A happy ship owner is somebody told me is a Norwegian national funded by a Danish bank with an Indian technical manager, Indian seafarer, English lawyers, and offices in Singapore. Our seafarers and technical managers will be there. Can we also have a happy Indian ship owner? Seafaring in India, I will not touch on this, sir. I am aware of the shortage of time, so we will quickly skip this. A quick word on the cost disadvantage to Indian shipping today. We've looked at the taxation on seafarers, so I will not once again touch on that. We have the issue about bunkers on our vessels. Through our ministry, attempt has been made to try and explain to the Ministry of Finance the need to try and ensure that at least the operating bunkers that are used by the major shipping companies such as SCI or Great Eastern, etc., for the purpose of movement on cargo on the coast is bought to international rates. It is necessary for us to also ensure that service tax on freight is bought within the system of CENVAT, and we are not asking for us to be excluded, but we are saying that service tax, where it's becoming a cost to us, must be bought into the system. Often enough has been spoken about the contribution of Indian flag to the economy. These are data that, like Gani spoke about. We have been talking about this for at least about the past 5 years, about the GVA added, the contribution made to national shipping tonnage, saving how much of freight bill, etc. And we've now put it down to about, as we said, $5 billion. what would be, sir, so wrong if we decided that we wanted to have an Indian fleet? We decided that we would have our own vessels that would carry our own cargo, would employ only Indian seafarers, and would give rise to Indian technical community, shipyards, ship repairs, lawyers, and insurance companies. Given the geopolitical subtleties and the ongoing upheavals in the Indian market, it is necessary for us to assert our maritime abilities. Mr. Minister, this is the time that we need you, and we have lost these past few years in a mindset that wasn't to our benefit. I will say this very candidly to you, sir, that we need your help, we need your patronage for Indian shipping industry to grow. It is necessary to have a hand-holding. We do not wish for any financial help. We are not seeking any aid in terms of money, etc. All that we are looking at is a change of mindset, sir, where the Indian government believes that it is important to have an Indian flag, Indian national shipping industry. Just as the government supports steel, supports cars, supports various other industries, and allows foreign direct investment, you have allowed foreign direct investment into shipping. However, it is for all to see why foreigners are not willing to come in and flag in India. It is therefore necessary, sir, if as a minister, as somebody who leads us, sir, if you were to make a declaration that you are serious about Indian flag and that the government of India will support Indian flag, I think that would be good enough for all of us. It would be a huge moral booster, and we would be able to move forward. This is what we seem to keep doing, sir, is typically, as we say in Marathi, Morila butsa लावतो आणि दरवाजा आपण उघडा ठेवतोय. This is something that we need to take cognizance of, and we need to see how we can ensure that we are able to grow as a nation and as an industry. What we are looking for is long-term cargo partnerships with Indian interests. We are requesting you to allow us to flag vessels outside India so that we can continue to work in India, capture that revenue in India, sir. It is not necessary that just because I flag a vessel outside India, the revenue will not. In fact, today my revenue gets parked outside India. If I flag outside India directly through my Indian companies, I will be able to capture all my revenue today in India. We want to see Indian companies grow, and we want to see investment in Indian companies grow. I thought, sir, it would be appropriate at this point in time, of course, sitting in the hall named after Swatantraveer Savarkar, to bring to the attention of all what Pandit Deen Dayal said about our national identity, and that there is no true meaning to independence unless we can become the instrument of our progress and our happiness. And as long as we are unaware of our national identity, we cannot recognize and develop our potentialities. We would, sir, thank you for your time. I thank you for having made it here today and permitted us to speak to you, and we look forward to your guidance and attention for not only the Indian shipping industry, seafarers, and all of us who are part of this maritime trade. Thank you.